The original version of Lilo and Stitch was aired in 2002 and was about a small alien-like creature that was adopted by a small girl as a pet and companion. It mostly revolved around the little alien called Stitch and his best friend called Lilo, and today we are going to remind ourselves of the characters that featured in this animated film, and also look at all the people who voiced the characters, most of who are alive in 2025. We shall also do a side-to-side comparison of some of the major characters that featured both in the 2002 and 2025 versions. We shall start with the creature called Stitch, who was an illegal genetic experiment that was created by a mad scientist called Jumba Jakiba. He was built like a superhero with powers like unlimited strength, indestructibility, superintelligence, and was actually created with the purpose of spreading chaos and misery across the entire universe. But after the council members wanted to destroy it for good, it escaped and settled on Earth with the Pleakley sisters. He always behaved badly and was very unlikable to many. Everywhere he went and everything he touched turned to dust, and we can't necessarily blame him because that was his main purpose of existence. Later in the film, the council allowed him to stay on Earth under strict supervision from his creator and the Pleakley sisters. This force of nature was voiced by the iconic Chris Sanders, who still voices the same character in the 2025 version. Lilo Pleakley was a young orphaned Hawaiian girl who lived on the island of Kauai with her older sister. She was roughly 6 years old in the first film and was a girl who did not fit in with her kind. Her so-called friends treated her with so much disrespect and was mostly lonely and scarred with the fact that she lost her parents at such a young age. After the incident of meeting Stitch, she promised her sister to take care of him as a pet, and both became quite good friends. And even though Stitch was literally a menace, Lilo was always patient with him like how parents are always patient with their kids. She attended hula school and her daytime hobbies included activities like photography and discussions about horror movies. An adorable girl voiced by the beautiful Davy Chase. Nani was Lilo's older sister and her only remaining family. They both lived on the island of Kauai, where Nani became Lilo's sole guardian. She always struggled to get a job, and the social services were always on her back concerning Lilo's well-being. She was 18 years old, and that's how the system allowed her to live with her sister as the parent. Her responsibilities made her mature, and was also a very kind and caring lady mostly to people like her sister and her boyfriend. She had some ups and downs during the whole film, but her maturity and wisdom was stable throughout the film. She was voiced by Tia Carrere. Pleakley was a male character, but his first name was Wendy. He was a Plorganarian from planet Plorganer, who initially worked for the Galactic Federation. He always said that he was an expert on planet Earth, but in reality he never knew anything. And due to his claims on being Earth's expert, he was forcefully partnered with Dr. Jumba Jakiba to follow Stitch to planet Earth and capture him. Both became best friends after the partnership, and after being allowed to stay on Earth by the Grand Councilwoman, they both lived together with Stitch and the Pleakley sisters. Pleakley was such a nice guy with a gentle soul, and was the kindest and the most compassionate character in the film. He was voiced by Kevin McDonald. Now, Captain Gantu was sort of like the main antagonist. He was the corrupt captain of the Galactic Federation and the archenemy of Stitch, who he always called Experiment 626. He was the second-in-command to the Grand Councilwoman, and was known for being the brute force in the Federation. He had no sympathy towards criminals or fugitives of the law, and Stitch was no exception to his brutality. After causing so much damage in pursuit of Stitch, he was discharged from his position as the commander. He was voiced by Kevin Michael Richardson. There was this security guard who was only referred to as the Hammerhead Guard. He was one of the Federation guards acting alongside Captain Gantu. His role was so minor, and his few words came from Steve Blum. Jumba Jakiba was the famous doctor who created Stitch, and was a Queltaquan from planet Queltaquan. He was a purple-skinned alien with 4 eyes and a round nose, and also spoke with a somewhat Russian accent. Most people called him a mad scientist, but he preferred being called an evil genius. Other than Stitch, he also invented powerful weapons and high-tech gadgets that has never been seen before. He and Pleakley were sent to go after Stitch and take him back to the Federation. And outside of his work, he was so friendly and sociable, as was seen with his lifestyle with people on Earth. He also behaved as a father figure to both Lilo and Stitch, and after being allowed to stay on Earth by the Grand Councilwoman, he went to live with the Pleakley sisters alongside his partner Pleakley. He was voiced by the late David Ogden Stiers, who was an American actor, a musician, and a singer. He was active since 1971 and has played and voiced many characters, and an example is voicing Kamaji in the English version of Spirited Away that premiered in 2001. He sadly passed away on the 3rd of March 2018 at the age of 75 years, and his cause of demise was as a result of bladder cancer. David Kawena was Nani's boyfriend and a good friend to Lilo. He loved surfing as a hobby and also had trouble finding a stable employment just like Nani. He had a good heart and was very kind to everyone he associated with. He always treated Lilo as his little sister and mostly wanted to be included in the Pleakley household. He sometimes found jobs for both himself and Nani and was a very important character in the film. This romantic boy was voiced by Jason Scott Lee. As we stated before, Nani always had to deal with social workers concerning the well-being of Lilo. A CIA agent known as Cobra Bubbles was the one who was always sent to the Pleakley home to see the kind of lifestyle Nani was living. Even though he was tough and always acted in an antagonistic way, he was not an evil man. All he wanted was to ensure that Lilo was getting all the care she needed under Nani's guardianship. His iconic drip was black sunglasses, a well-fashioned black suit, and his deep, menacing voice. Ving Rhames was the one responsible for his voice. The Grand Councilwoman was the leader of the United Galactic Federation. She was the most powerful authority figure in the galaxy and was a very reasonable person with good intentions. The only thing she couldn't stand was crime and the criminals who committed the acts. She always wished to preserve order in the galaxy, and that was why she didn't want Stitch to exist, because he was created for violence and destruction. She was also the one who permitted Pleakley and Jumba to stay on Earth with Stitch, and also the one who discharged Captain Gantu from his rank. She was voiced by Zoe Caldwell, who was an Australian actress. She was blessed with 2 children and was also a writer and a novelist. She passed away on February 16, 2020 at the age of 86 from complications of Parkinson's disease. Five other characters include Myrtle Edmonds, who was Lilo's rival in the film. She was a spoiled and selfish little girl who had a group of girls that followed her every command. She despised Lilo and gave her mean nicknames. Mrs. Hasagawa was a short elderly and a kind lady who was a fruit vendor that owned a fruit stand in the village. There was this rescue lady who worked in an animal shelter and was responsible for giving Stitch to Lilo when she came looking for an animal companion. Moses Paloki was Lilo's hula teacher in the film. He was a very patient and a loving teacher to his students, and was among the minor characters. And finally, Ensign Gecko, who worked on Gantu's ship and was seen in the section where Gantu was chasing Stitch.